Welcome, everyone. It's my great honor to be here tonight with Maya Taylor, award-winning actress, for her incredible performance in the film we've just seen. So to begin, I have a few questions, and then we'll open it up. I'm sure the audience will have questions as well. As you've said in interviews, you came from almost nothing, got this role after being discovered at the LA LGBT Center, and then made history at the 31st Film Independent Spirit Awards as the first trans actress to ever win at the annual ceremony, beating out Cynthia Nixon, Jennifer Jason Leigh, and other established artists. It's interesting, of course, that your character in the film also has ambitions to get into show business. To what extent did you or did you not draw on your personal history or that of friends in creating this role?
So, in creating this role, I wanted to completely take it away from myself. You know, I wanted to make her from scratch, but, you know, shoot, this is the difference. The difference is, at that time, I was so insecure about myself. Like, I had just started my transition. I felt like, you know, I still looked half and half, and of course I did. But,
Not
you
really.
know, I was insecure, like heavily insecure. But I knew that the character needed to be really confident. And people often ask me, like, what's the difference between Maya and Alexandra? Maya was really insecure, and like I used to wear shades all the time just to hide most of my face. But I knew that going on screen, I needed to come out of that and make her just feel like the most powerful thing in the world. And like when I look at it, I see that. I mean, she's what I wanted to be. So,
Yeah, no, she's classy and confident.
yeah.
Tell us about how you met the filmmakers and the collaborative process between you, Sean Breaker, and Chris Burgosh in developing the character and the film itself.
So, one day I was sitting outside the LGBT Center on Santa Monica and McCadden in Los Angeles, and I was talking to my friends about something that it's probably unimportant, but Sean and Chris Burgosh came over, and they were like, well, you know, we're working on this project and we're trying to do research for our project, and you know, I really wanted to know what it was, and they were like, well, you know, it could possibly be a film. So there wasn't a script or anything like that yet, but you know, they wanted to know more information about the area and draw from some of our life experiences. And I guess I was the only one that was really open to like really, you know, telling him the tea on everything. And you know, he fell in love with my personality. And next thing I know, we had another meeting, and then I bought Katana Kiki Rodriguez, Cindy, to the meeting, and he saw the two of us side by side, and he said, Sean says that, you know, I'm the classy one, and Kiki is, well, she's a really nice girl, you know, so.
She's a sassy one.
Exactly, and we were so opposite, and that's what he liked, and he saw that, and he wanted us to be on screen. So that's how it started.
Well, as I said to the audience while you were still in the green room, but the film, obviously, it radiates a candor and intimacy and tenderness that's remarkable in so many ways. And no more so, of course, in the friendship between Alexandra and Cindy, which is the emotional center of the film. Did you and your co-star know each other well before you worked together in the film? You just said that you brought her in with Sean. I mean, Sean said he wants to learn more. You thought she would be someone he should meet. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, at that time, I only had one best friend, and it was Alfred Lopez, who you'll see in the color wall scene where he's like, girl, you don't want to go back to jail, mama. You just got out. That's my best friend, the guy with the glasses. And I met her through him. And then we all lived together. And I knew that she had a history in acting, you know, through school and everything like that. And I knew that that's what she wanted to do. And I said, you know what, look, let's do this together. And that's why I brought her on. And she was completely sweet. I mean, I didn't really know too much about her.
Right.
Like, we weren't that close, but during the filming of everything, like, we read our lines off screen together, and, you know, we created this bond. And I guess that's the bond that you really see as friends on TV.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, many have remarked about the Los Angeles setting for the film. Long sections of the film consist of shots of people walking to get anywhere, and the car culture of Los Angeles is fairly amazing. Sometimes waiting for buses that never arrive. How did shooting on location in Hollywood and Little Armenia impact the way you crafted the characters for the story of the film? And are there impressions of your own about the city when you first moved to LA from Houston that you brought to the film?
No, in the beginning, it was sort of difficult doing the film actually in the location because there were so many people that we knew that were, on the streets passing through or, who lived in the area or whatever. And then sometimes like we could be in the middle of a shot and, we're here shooting on iPhones. We're like, hey girl, what you doing? You just messed up my shot and I have to do this again. Like it was stuff like that.
Well,
yeah.
Well, as we were talking about before the screening, a couple of weeks ago we saw a couple of episodes of Transparent and talked about LA. And the scholar who was here, who's written about Transparent and also Tangerine, and very, compellingly and lovingly. But she also remarks on how what's so wonderful about Tangerine is this different LA, or this LA that, whereas in Transparent, it's this completely white world seen through the windshield of a Mercedes. Whereas here we have this LA from, all kinds of walking culture, driving, car washes, the metro, everything,
It's just raw. It's real.
Right.
I remember living in Houston, in Texas, like when I was 15, 16 years old, and I'd see on TV, what they said was LA was Beverly Hills. That's what you see. You see all the fast sports cars and the movie stars, the glamour, the clothes, the diamonds, the jewels, and all this stuff. But when you go to actual LA, you're like, where is that? What's this? So, it's a very real interpretation of how it actually is, I mean, some people actually do live that very, very fast and glamorous life, but there's not many people who can just afford to live like that. So we show what it was actually like to not live like that. So.
Right. No, but it's also this, this, and it's Christmas Eve, and it's, so anyways, we'll come back to that. You've expressed in many interviews that you see this as an important time for women in the industry and that you hope to really serve as an advocate for trans women in filmmaking. You've also observed that typecasting has been a significant barrier in the past, and I wonder if you would speak to whether you're seeing signs that there's been any kind of change and progress in this regard, on what you see as the future.
So yeah, I do kind of feel like myself as an advocate for other trans women because there's not many trans women who's doing it. And I feel like since I have the platform, I might as well don't be selfish and do it for myself. Open up and try to help other people. Here I am coming into this business and this business, there's money involved into this business and, here I am moving up, but then I look at the people who I left in the streets and they're still doing the same thing. And, I know that it's difficult and hard to get out of those situations. So what I can do is, try to open up my voice to reach out, to make the change in the community.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Tell us about the characters Dinah and Razmik, both of whom are professional actors. Were there challenges working with a cast of professional actors alongside non-professional actors? As for the characters they played, the second part is, it would seem, although they may not have to deal with the specific stigmas and abuses that plague Alexandra and Cindy on a regular basis, they turn out to be really, if anything, leading even more frustrating and frustratingly constricted lives. Do you agree? So first, just the professional, non-professional actors, what was it like working with them and what did they bring to the film? And then their characters.
Well, I'm gonna answer this, but I'm gonna go back to the one that because I got some more tea to tell. But working with them, it's not just about, let's say you have a script in your hand and you give it to me and then here I am just reading the script over and over and over. it's hard to really get the gist of like what it's about and like, you know, to really get into it unless you have somebody there reading the other part and you're feeding off of each other. The more you go over that part over and over and over, the more you really, really get off into that script and the more you become that character. So that's how the more seasoned actors helped a lot.
Right.
Now, as far as being typecasted, so after Tangerine, I got a manager, and I was doing like a few auditions and everything, but I noticed all of my auditions had to do with being a prostitute or being killed or being some type of victim, right. Transgender, of course. And I didn't transition just to be known right. as just the transgender actress. I transitioned to be a woman. And, you know, I'm at the point where I look woman enough to play woman parts, you know, woman roles, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
not the parts. Yeah, whatever.
And
that was a good one.
But I was. But I wasn't getting that. I was getting all these prostitution roles. And then the more I go to these colleges, the more I meet more LGBT students and everything. And, you know, I'm preaching about we shouldn't just be thrown into one category Absolutely. All the time. We shouldn't just be known as prostitutes on TV and everything, because that's what people are going to think of us. And I won't stand for it. But now I have a new manager. And he's been doing an amazing job with giving me auditions and everything. I think I've had him for like 2 weeks now, and I've probably done, 6 or 7 auditions wow. already, and so many different plans, and he's amazing. He's a pistol, let's just say that. But yeah, it's been a big 360, and we're gonna see where it goes.
Just to go back to the other characters in the film, I said Dinah, and because really when we get to the end, Alexandra and Cindy, they make and it's a very moving scene in the laundromat, and you know, just the arc of the film, as I said, where it begins when she's, you know, just out of jail and they're talking really, you know, excitedly, and then we get to the end where it's this very moving that there's a real, they really are best friends. They really do love each other. But whereas the Dinah character can't even get back in, and of course, if Cindy is Cinderella, it's Dinah who loses her shoe and finally, you know, throws away the other one. But it's locked out, not even let back into the hideous room number 5. And of course, Razmik and his mother-in-law and that whole scene, you know, there's not a lot of joy. So here, as we end this Christmas Eve tale, it's the real heart of the film, or I mean, the real warmth and sense of possibility is with Alexandra and Cindy. So I'm just wondering if you know, what others have said or what you think about the, you know, these other characters that fill this world that lead really frustrating, limited lives.
It happens. It happens. Shoot, well, I mean, it's no secret. In my past, I was a sex worker. And, you know, I can't tell you how many married men came to see me, you know? And it's sad, and it does kind of destroy family. Cheating is cheating, period. Right. And it's sad, but that's why we put it inside the movie, because, you know, this stuff really happens. Right. Now, the whole thing with Dinah, you know, this part, it was kind of made up and everything, but, I mean, it's sad to me too, because she got involved in some stuff that she really didn't mean to get involved in. You know, it was kind of bought to her. And now she's lost her place of where she lives, you know?
No, exactly.
Yeah.
No, it's just sad at the end. They're really lonely.
It
and
is.
For all the crap that's gone down, Cindy and Alexandra are together.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, for the scene where we had to do the wig exchange and stuff like, you know, that would not have happened in real life. But but at first I did not want to do that scene because I was like why? But you know, I really got the significance of it. Now, Kiki, on the other hand, like, she was totally against it. And
why?
Because she, no shade, I'm not being shady, okay? I'm not being shady. But her hair was like this long, underneath like the wig, and like she just didn't want to
be seen that way.
She had cut her own hair already, you know,
Mm-hmm.
because she was going through a lot and she just wanted to kind of start over on, you know, a lot of stuff. So she cut her hair short and everything, and plus, you know, it was damaged. But no shade, I'm not being shady. But we had to have the crew to block off the whole washateria because she didn't want anybody to see her without, you know, her hair on and everything. But, you know, eventually she came around after she saw the finished product, and I love it too. I think that it's so touching and everything. I know that I wouldn't do it in real life, but you know, it's nice to see on TV. So,
Although I would say with the wig exchange, I think they're both so beautiful. There's not this sense that this somehow masculinizes them or anything.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the opposite. You know, you can feel in the way that the scene is played a hesitancy, like, you know, no way, I'm not doing that. But it's filled with urine, and you know, it's like, no, you have to.
Yeah.
And the Christmas gift. So you might have done it on a Christmas Eve. Maybe.
no, I guess it kind of goes to like, you know, a woman's hair is her glory.
I agree.
And and you know, it shows how tight their friendship was for Alexandra to even take that off
Right.
and give it to her friend. That's saying, I really, really love
Right.
you, and I'm really, really sorry. Although, you know, in the storyline, it was only once. Oh, that's all it takes. You know, it was only once. Like, we would not have been friends.
Right.
Okay. But
Right. No,
I
there's
just
some
have to
things.
put that out there.
In spite of its orange skies and Los Angeles setting, Tangerine is at heart a Christmas movie about family and friendship. This is brought home in the final sequence, of course, but even earlier when your character sings Toyland,
Yeah.
made famous by Doris Day. Can you tell us who made this song choice, which describes a little girl in boyland comprising childhood and where borders between genders seem at once clear and obviously fictions too?
So in the beginning, I did not want to do this song. I did not want to do it. I just thought I was like, it's too old. And,
Wait, you're sounding like Dinah.
that's how I really felt in the beginning. I wanted to do, everybody knows that Toni and Tamar Braxton are my favorite singers. And you know, I love Toni Braxton's voice. It's so sexy and seductive. And she had this Christmas song called Santa Please. And that's what I really wanted to do. And Sean reached out and he was like, oh no, we can't do it. They're gonna charge us $50,000. And you know, that's almost the whole budget. So, Sean had a song. I don't know why Toyland was so important to him, but he really wanted me to do it.
So it was his choice.
Yeah, it was his choice. He really wanted me to do it, and we did it. But you know what? He reached out to Terrence Lee Jones. Terrence Lee Jones, as you know, there's 5 Braxtons. There's Toni Braxton, Tawanda, Tracy, Trina, and Tamar. Terrence Lee Jones is all of their vocal coach, and he trained me for the song.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've read that you're developing a television show of your own with Sean Baker.
Well, where did you read that at?
I read it today in an interview.
Oh,
Well, maybe it's just coming out.
no.
Well, tell us what projects you are working on.
Oh. I was like, well, that comes to a surprise to me.
Well, we did
But-
say that you should do a Tangerine too.
Yeah.
After Christmas.
You know, we've thought about that. I don't know how it got leaked, but we've thought about that. And we were actually going to work on it, but then Sean went to go and film his own film and this and that. And it was just one big mess. And I was like, okay, no ma'am. So what I'm working on now, I'm just doing a lot of auditions, and I'm kind of remapping my career because I'm under new management now. So I just want to start fresh. And, you know, we're doing a whole list of other things that I really just cannot go into.
Yeah.
But just know that I'm active. You know, I did Happy Birthday, Marsha, right after Tangerine. And then after that, I did Diane from the Moon. And then I did Viva Diva, and none of those, well, Diane from the Moon is out. But it's a short film. It went through a few festivals, but I'm waiting for Happy Birthday, Marsha. That's going to be my big one.
And when What's the story there?
So, Happy Birthday, Marsha is about Marsha P. Johnson. I actually play a real life person who actually existed. And, that's what was so sweet to me because Marsha P. Johnson is a trans activist who was killed in 1992. What got me into her and doing the script was I was watching an interview with like a few old friends of hers, and they were explaining that, Marsha didn't really have anything. She would make a little bit of money, then she'd go to a store, buy a bag of cookies, and then by the time she gets home, the cookies are gone because she's given it out to all the other people who are less fortunate. That right there is when I said, okay, I want to do this role. On top of Marsha being a complete free spirit, back then glamour was so different from what glamour is today. She did what she had to do with, it would be crazy makeup to us today, but that was her expressing herself. Like if you Google Marsha P. Johnson, you'd see, she draw her eyebrows on and these big wigs and, I don't know, she was just a character and she was so full of life, and I said, I want to play that role. Wow. And I did it, and I did it 2 years ago, and I just finished filming it because I went back to film a few more scenes with them probably like 9 or 10 months ago. And it's just, that project is my baby. It's very dear to me, which I don't understand why the hell they're taking so long to put it out. But, it'll be out and it's gonna be good. So be looking out for it.
We will.
Yeah.
Well, I think we can take questions from the audience. So if you have questions, Matt has yes.
Hello. Yeah, how you doing? I love your performance right away. No, I just wanted to ask, because you just said you got a lot more confidence now. I'm saying, I wanted to ask, if you did the role today, would you think it'd be way different, or would you think it'd be just as good as you did the first time?
I really don't know. That's a good question. I would think that it would be a little different. I don't know why. There's so much deep off into that I could answer, but it'll take up this whole session. So, yeah. It probably would be different. I don't know whether it's going to be different in a good way or a bad way, because at that time, I guess that role kind of helped me to mold myself into what I am today too. So yeah, it would be different.
Hello, thank you very much. I had 2 questions. One, how did
you only get one? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Great. Great. I really enjoyed the relationship that you had with your co-star. So can you please talk about how your childhood and your growing up to your own identity frame that type of friendship? Because it was very strong, and it was very tender and sweet, and it felt like family. So one, and then 2, how did the streets of LA become like another actor? It was very, a lot of it was very cold, and kind of very mechanical and brutal. But you guys warmed it up very well. It was, there was so much life in your performance that everything else kind of melted away.
Well, I can answer the second question easier than I can answer the first one. But, so Sean Baker and Chris Bergosh and Darren Dean and Shaching Suo and James Ransone and so on, everybody who was involved inside the whole production. But let's start with Sean, because Sean is, Sean and Chris Bergosh, the reason why, I'm here today. They were just so sweet, and they were just so open to direction. Remember, they didn't come to us with a script. We gave them the story, and they put it down on paper. They did all of their research, and they let us pretty much have our say-so in what went on in the script. And I felt like the connection was just, it was just so insane. It was just so strong. And we never had any arguments. There was never any diva-ness or anything like that. We just all collaborated so what would I say, liquidy. Like it worked. It really just worked. And I don't know, it was just a whole bunch of practice and preparation, and we had just became a big family. So when it came to Cindy and Alexandra's relationship, we had just grew closer, just even through the role and everything, because we weren't that close to begin with. I mean, you know, we speak and everything, especially living in the same household, but I don't know. The role really helped us grow together just as a family. And plus, because we knew that we were probably doing something great, you know? But never in a million years did I think that I would be the first trans woman to have an Oscar campaign, to win a Spirit Award, a Gotham Award, San Francisco Film Critics Award. You know, I did not know that. And yeah, that's just the magic behind it.
Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to have you here. I am curious because of we hear often that women have body criticism in Hollywood. I wonder what that's like for you. I don't know how to ask it in the correct way.
So months ago, well, let's say probably like 10, 11 months ago, I was a size 16. That's when I was, you know, peaking, like the height of, you know, a little bit before that, somebody on my own team told me that if I didn't start eating healthy and if I didn't lose weight, then I was gonna start getting the roles of fat best friend instead of lead roles. And yes, it did crush me. And I just went and I got some McDonald's. But for real, I even have a Facebook video about it. But
What's wrong with fat best friend? I see that as a leading role.
yeah. But yeah, it's hard. Like even think about, I think Lady Gaga did, she did a performance where her stomach was out, and Gaga is thin. And, you know, people were pointing out that she had a little pouch. And, you know, I'm like, what the are you talking about? Like, she is so pretty, and like, you know, and plus, you know, a woman naturally has a little pouch anyway. Like, people, don't think about what people say about you. Just do what you gotta do for you. And plus, my man don't like nothing thin anyway. So. Did that answer your question?
Life advice.
Yeah.
Hi. I was so impressed with the film, so thank you. It did occur to me the life of a sex worker is a tough life. And I felt in the film they sort of depict it as a bit of a family feeling, like the women seem to know each other. You mentioned you were a sex worker. You were able to get out of that life. In your research, in your own experience, what is the life? Do most women get out of it? How do they exist? Do they live together? Do they support each other through this? What's that like?
Well, I'm gonna open up about something. When I first went out, being a sex worker, I was put out there from a family member. And, you know, eventually, like, she left me, and, you know, she, basically, she used me to support both of us. And now, you know, she's gone somewhere and we don't speak. You know, it's a long story and everything, but she had said, don't try to get to know any of those girls because they're all catty, they're all mean and this and that. And that's true for some of them and everything, but I feel like I've met better strangers than my own family members. And they had become family. And, you know, we bonded and we stuck together. You know, if I didn't eat, then this bitch didn't eat. You know, like, if we had 25 cents, then we'll go get a pack of ramen noodles and we'll eat it together. True story. And that's just how it was. There are some people who get out of it. Let me tell you my own experience, though, because I can't speak for other people. Being transgender, like, at that time period, you know, when I just started my transition, you notice I look a little different now than what I look like there. because I'm much softer now, more passable now. And at that time, I was applying for jobs and everything, and my ID still said male on it, and it still said my old name on it, and I was getting discriminated against so much, and I really just wanted a job so I can get off of my friend's floor and live a normal life and have an apartment and support myself. And I just couldn't. So when Tangerine came along, it saved me. Because then the checks started rolling in. This bought her a Benz. She done bought, true story. And, but I was one of the fortunate ones. Think about the people who didn't have that opportunity. So, I don't know. And then, there's some people who have tried the same thing. They try to apply for jobs and get jobs and stuff like this. And, eventually they get turned down so much that they go on to drugs and, and alcohol and stuff like this to numb their feelings. And, it's like a domino effect. So, yeah.
Hello. I just wanted to know, why was this an important trans narrative for you all to produce?
Well, I guess because it tells a true life story, because, okay, there's stories out there that are written by cis people and acted by cis people, and we needed to bring a different element to it. We needed to be our own voice, and, let me go into this. Let me just go into this. Okay, so there's the Danish Girl, which you know the film The Danish Girl, where it was Eddie playing a transgender woman, and then they were up for an Oscar and everything, but Tangerine was a low-budget film that got, talked about pretty much in the same category as this film. So why didn't we get the Oscar nomination, or, you know what I mean? It's just, it's not fair. I mean, what we were trying to do is, we're just trying to I don't know what the I'm trying to say. What am I trying to say, Aaron? What am I trying to say? You're going with it. I have it on the tip of my tongue, but what am I trying to say?
What you're trying to say is that on a low-budget film, you're able to bring real trans voices and experiences to the screen, which is different than films that made about trans people that aren't necessarily written by or featuring trans people.
There we go.
And I think, as I want to say, as the last film in our series, and I believe more and more I know how important fiction and storytelling is. I mean, with all the news that we read and all the news that we can't daily, we need stories that put these things and this experience into some context. And I think what's so wonderful about Tangerine, it is a film about trans women, starring trans women, about living in LA, in an LA that is very diverse, with people living all kinds of identities and difficulties and frustrations. But at the heart of it is hope and love. And what else do you need? With that,
That's what I was trying to say.
thank you.